Hey guys, so today we're going to do the unboxing and do a comparison of the Cowon Plenue D3. So this is a digital audio player or DAP that came out I think in 2021. It's Cowon's very last DAP that they released before they stopped making DAPs, which is unfortunate. So for those of you guys who don't know about the background of Cowon, they're a South Korean company that had been making MP3 players and audio player devices since the late 90s, I believe. And they were probably the most popular in the 2000s. That's when you had kind of the MP3 player boom, right? You guys remember Apple iPods? So yeah, iPods and Zunes and Creative Zens and then SanDisk Sansas, right? Remember those iRivers and Kowons? They were all in there. That was back in the 2000s where MP3 players were very popular because we didn't really have full smartphones yet at that time. So ever since smartphones, Cowon has been just making these kind of more niche, higher-end digital audio players, but they have been finding it very hard to compete, I think, against the newer Chinese manufacturers coming out. So again, Aston Kern is probably the biggest player in the market. I think Aston Kern is just they're just better at the marketing stuff. They're owned by a bigger company, Dreamus, who also own iRiver and stuff. So I think Aston Kern, just their marketing and their higher end digital audio players and everything just managed to beat out the smaller Korean companies like The Bit and Cowon, all these smaller Korean companies that made DAPs. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but Cowon no longer makes any DAPs. I think they only make these wireless earbuds now. They don't really make much stuff anymore, honestly. I don't even know if they're really still alive, but it's kind of a sad thing because Cowon made some pretty nice music players, and I never actually got to do a video on any of their music players. I think I only did a video on one of their PMPs or portable media players that was more for just general entertainment. That was called the V5W. I did a video on that a couple years back. That was a all Linux handheld that kind of did everything. It wasn't just for music, it was for like kind of everything because it was a Linux device, right? So you can play music, movies, games, do a lot of stuff. But this is my first Plenue player. So the Plenue is Cowon's line of higher end players, and I've never really owned one before. And if you guys have looked at my channel, you guys know that I care about audio, right? I'm kind of an audiophile. I bought all these different headphones and IEMs and music players and stuff. And Cowon Plenue is one of the few digital audio players I've heard a lot about, just never got to try, right? I've had Sony Walkmans on my channel, Shanlings and Fios and Kayins and Hidizs and A306, even Luxury Precision and Lotu. Right, all these like Chinese digital audio player companies, Aston Kern obviously I featured as well. Yeah, I think Cowon just found it harder to compete against these Chinese music players now. So they exited the market, unfortunately, but now finally get to have my hands on the Plenue. Their very last Plenue that was released, the D3. It's not their highest end. I believe back then their highest end Plenue device was called the L, which I never tried. But yeah, the Plenue D3 retailed originally for $370 US. So it's kind of more like in the scale of digital audio players, it would be more on the budget end, because now you have digital audio players like Luxury and Precision and Hidizs RS8 and yeah, the higher end Aston Kern SP4000, like all those devices, they're retailing for like $4,000 and upwards, right? So Cowon Plenues are not competing in that kind of space. I would say the closest comparisons, which I'm going to be doing comparison later in this video to some other DAPs around the same price range. I would say they're competing with Hidizs, who has the AP80, which is fairly popular, and some of the entry-level Sony Walkmans, and some of the entry-level Hidizs and Shanlings as well. So yeah, that's pretty much what they're competing with. And the Fio JM21 and the Snowski devices, I think, is probably what Plenue is competing with here. And I use the word competition as in if you're trying to get this player. Again, obviously they don't even make this player anymore, but if you are thinking about getting the Plenue D3, then those are the other options here. So this is the 64 gigabyte version in silver. They also, I think, made a gold version. And yes, this is made in Korea. That's nice. These days, only Aston Kern is left from the Korean music player industry, I guess. There used to be a lot more, right? There used to be the Bit, which made the Opus music players. That's also from Korea. Calyx actually made the M, which is another Korean music company. So yeah, nowadays you just have Aston Kern left, unfortunately. Yeah, here it goes. This is what the Plenue D looks like. It is a very small player in today's standards, because nowadays you have much bigger players. And let me just give you my main daily driver player to compare it to, which honestly is fairly well sized, because I don't like to have bulky players. These days the flagship DAPs are all really, really big and bulky, unfortunately. Just to give you guys a size comparison, this is the Hidizs or Hidizs RS6, which I've had for a while. 5-inch display here. So this is the size of the Plenue D3 compared to this, so you guys can see just how much bigger even the Hidizs are. So like this is actually, I would consider the Hidizs R6 kind of a decent size, because nowadays you have like really, really bulky music players now, right? At least the flagship DAPs like the Shanling M8T or the Ibeso DX340 or FIO M27. Yeah, even the RS6, RS8 too, right? These are really, really big DAPs. Yeah, I consider the RS6 kind of okay-ish to hold in my hand, but even this is kind of a monster compared to the D3. Or how about the Lotu Pod Gold Touch, right? That's another one that I have, which I think is decently usable in my palm, but the D3 is, yeah, still tiny compared to that. So just give you guys a size comparison, right? Just how tiny is the Cowon Plenue D3? We'll just look at that. And I think my Lotu G2 Pod Gold Touch is pretty good size, but compared to the Hidizs RS6, yeah, which I think this is a pretty decent sized player in today's market, but just to give you guys a size comparison, wow. Just to show you guys exactly how tiny and compact the Plenue D3 is. Is there anything else in the box? Well, not too much else. We can take a look here. I think it's just the cable, that's it. Yeah, we have the Plenue. Yep, cable right here. It's just a USB-A to USB-C. That's it. I think this is only one of only 2 devices or 3 devices that Cowon made with USB-C, because most of their well-known players are, let's say, back in the early 2010s and late 2000s, and they go off of micro USB. So there's only a few Plenue players that have USB-C support. This is one of them, because it's actually one of their last players, if not the last player that they made before they stopped making players. And yeah, it's just extremely compact in my hand. This is kind of the logo for Plenue, and yep, made in Korea, which is nice in this day and age, because nowadays you only have Aston Kern that's made in Korea anymore. Now the rest of the high-end digital audio player market are all Chinese. So yeah, not to say made in China is a bad thing, it's not. Made in China is actually getting much, much better now, but it's always nice to see something like this that's made in Korea, right? Yeah, you can see that's a Plenue D3 there, especially the model. And I really do like the appearance, because it's designed almost like a small cigarette box, I want to say. Kind of cute looking, actually. I know Aston and Kern kind of follows this kind of design methodology too, but their edges are a lot sharper. I don't think with Cowon, they don't really have those sharp edges like Aston Kern does, but it's still like kind of boxy shaped. It's just kind of like the size of a Zippo lighter or a cigarette box or something. But it's pretty cool. Okay, you got USB-C charging. Like I said, one of the very few Plenues that have USB-C charging. And on the right side here, you got power button, previous track, next track, play, pause right there. And on the left side, you only get the micro SD card slot. And on top, you get the 3.5 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter balanced. You gotta keep in mind that this was released at a time when 4.4 was not the accepted standard yet. 4.4 was kind of on some devices back then, but in the Korean player market, Aston Kern was pushing the 2.5 pretty hard, and I guess Cowon just kind of followed Aston Kern, the Korean brethren, in the 2.5, I guess. So yeah, 2.5 balanced here, which is kind of an outdated standard now. And then you have the volume wheel. So this is a decent volume wheel, I guess. Although this volume wheel I think is a little bit too easy to turn. Yeah, if they made this volume wheel like Yeah, if they made this volume wheel like a little bit more, give it a little bit more friction, it would be nice. But this is a little bit too easy to turn. I think it will be easy to accidentally activate while it's in your pocket. So that's one issue I have with this volume wheel. It's a little bit too easy to turn. And by the way, this screen is a OLED display. Yes, this is a 2.8-inch OLED display or AMOLED display, and that's actually pretty interesting because a lot of the high-end DAPs on the market right now, the high-end DAPs today, don't have OLED screens. I'm not sure why. Like you look up the high-end Acetone Currents, the SP3000, SP4000, they don't have OLED displays. They only have IPS, Luxury and Precision, IPS, Low-2, IPS display. The higher-end Hibee RS82, yeah, that's IPS display. Like, what the heck, man? What happened to putting OLED displays on digital audio players? I don't get it. Are today's high-end DAP makers cheaping out or something? Because if you go back, Cowon had this stuff, even back in their older players. If you look 10 years ago with their Plenue S, yeah, even that had an OLED display back then. So I don't get it. Wish more manufacturers would follow Cowon and add a OLED display or something like that. I don't know. I don't get it what's with the IPS display on today's DAPs. But anyways, this one is cool because there's OLED. Power-wise, it can drive 2 VRMS out of the unbalanced and 4 VRMRS out of the balanced. Now, I'm not sure how to convert that into milliwatts, but Acetone Current also uses VRMS for the power, so I'm actually not sure how much milliwatts that is, but it should be enough for driving in your monitors, which is what I'll be using it with. And for the DAC, it uses dual CS43131 DACs. So those are the old flagship Cirrus Logic DACs, which honestly have appeared in a lot of budget players. So you might be thinking, okay, this is a kind of a lower end DAC because it's budget. Well, we'll see, right? I think the sound quality might surprise me because some people are saying how Cowon Plenue players, they sound really, really good for the price. And yeah, don't just look at the DAC and be like, oh, 2 CS43131. Nah, that's only used on budget players, right? You know, higher end players who are going to use AK 4497 or AK 4499 or the ES9038 or 9039. Yeah, don't just look at the whatever is flagship and more expensive. Yeah, we're not here to judge just yet. I want to just test the sound quality myself. And this has a lot of really cool, interesting EQ presets as well. It's actually well known for jet effect and BBE. So here we go. See this? Jet effect, BBE plus. Yeah, so that's their kind of suite of EQ presets that Cowon is known for. So a lot of people talked about those EQ presets, raved about them. So yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out and yeah, see how those EQ presets affect the music and everything. So stay tuned. Okay, let's boot it up and take a look at the UI here. So I'm going to boot it up and show you guys exactly how fast it takes because it is running its own operating system. So yeah, that's it. Okay, just takes a few seconds. It has a custom operating system running Linux, I believe, not Android or anything. So it boots up pretty fast, as it should. And yeah, you see the album cover and display right here. But let's go to the top level of the UI. So there is no technically like no actual home screen, quote unquote, because yeah, this is pretty much what you get at the top. You just see folders here, and then this will show you all the folders on the device itself. So this has 64 gigs of storage, right? So you just move your music onto here. If you have an SD card inserted, it'll also show up in here as well. So this is just the top level folders. You can also go to favorites. I don't have any right now. Songs, this is just all the songs kind of combined on the device. Artists, of course, will filter by artists here. Albums, will go by albums. Genres, I think this might go by the ID3 tag of the music, so just find different genres as well. Years, now this is interesting because if you want to like, yeah, like if your music came out in a certain year, right? If you want to listen to only 70s or 80s or 90s music, then this could be an interesting filter. New music, if you're listening to something recent. Now keep in mind, this thing doesn't do any streaming, so there's no Spotify, no Tidal or anything. You just load music on this thing locally. So yeah, I guess this would just be your recently added music, I guess. And then playlists, I don't have any right now. Okay, and if you go here, this just goes back to the album that I was just listening to, which was Ariana Grande. Oh, do that back for a bit, and then Yeah, so what you can do is search here. Now the searching is a little bit jank. So basically, it'll go into the landscape mode and then, hey, I want to find that song, for example, that I was just playing, like Moonlight, right, by Ariana Grande. So I'll go with Moonlight here. And yes, you can search, you can change it to Korean because it is a Korean device, right? And I do know some Korean, and I have some Korean music files listening onto here, right, like K-pop, but it's okay. I'll just search by English right now and enter, and then you find your music file here. So the search is a little bit jank in that sense, right? It goes to a different screen. You have to like turn it landscape, and then you got to search like that. So it's a little bit jank. So I'm gonna say the UI for Cowon is not that great. It takes some time to get used to. Definitely, it's a little bit confusing. But yeah, once you get into the player, it looks like this. Of course, you can just, yeah, this is what it looks like. You can just do some seeking here, right? If you want to play. Go next track like this. You can also change the way the player looks. So this is just a skin right now. So these are the options here. So if you want to go to a different type skin, here, this is what it looks like. So you can change it to a different skin. Now it looks like I'm playing a CD. So I can change it to another type skin like this one. So there's 3 different skins you can choose from. So the players, yeah, kind of like that. And yeah, you can see some information about the track. So you can see the file name, the bit rate. Oops. See that? Okay. Yeah, now we can see the file type, the bit rate, sample rate, the length, the genre, the year, file name. So you can see some interesting information about the file itself. If you just click on that, and then back. Okay. I actually like skin 2 the best, or B type, I guess. So you can change your settings here. You can choose to play like sequence, or you can choose to loop around. I think those are the only 2. Oh no, you can kind of like shuffle it, I guess, as well. So there's a few different settings here, right? Shuffle and do sequence or repeat around. This one, I think we'll go by folder, all, okay. 1, okay. I think this is also related to how it's playing the file too. I haven't exactly dug into that one. This is other settings. So basically, in order to access the settings of the player, you have to go into the music player first, and then you access it from here. So Jet Effect 5 is the set of EQ settings that it has. There is a lot of different EQ settings, and Cowon has some of the most I would say out of digital audio players, Cowon has one of the most extensive EQ presets out of any digital audio player. So the Jet Effect stuff is pretty interesting. So you have user-defined EQ right here. So this one is, of course, the EQ that you create for like certain, if you want to just create your own EQ, basically. So if you have a headphone or in-ear monitor that you want to just tune it yourself, you can do that. Here, you have some different EQ presets. You can choose which frequency, I guess, and wide or narrow or normal. You can kind of choose that. I guess you can also choose BBE plus, which is kind of one of the filter effects that's layered on, and then SE as well. Yeah, so you can choose different effects here. So basically here you can choose all the different frequencies, 80 hertz, 175, and it will go up all the way to 13 kilohertz, it looks like. And beyond 13 kilohertz is like you're likely not to be able to hear it with your ears. So basically from 80 hertz all the way to 13 kilohertz, you have the different EQ settings that you can choose from. So yeah, and okay, so this is the BBE effect, my bad. So yeah, this was the EQ setting here and how much gain you can raise or lower per frequency. If you want to dabble around in that, that's basically what this EQ screen is. But if you want to go to BBE plus, which is adjusting this BBE preset, you can kind of adjust how much of the BBE processing effect that you're adding, the Mach 3 bass effect, which is adding kind of a deeper bass effect, and the 3D surround effect, which is adding this kind of virtual surround DSP kind of thing. So I usually leave 3D surround off Mock bass, that's a preference thing. I know some people really like the mock bass setting. It really gives you deeper bass. And it doesn't really sound artificial either. I think it's actually a really cool effect having the mock bass. And BBE, it's hard to explain what this one is, but basically I have been familiar with BBE because as a guitar player, I've used their effects before. They make a guitar pedal called the BBE Sonic Stomp, which is based on their BBE Sonic Maximizer, which is exactly what this is on the music player as well. Essentially what it does is it increases the bass and treble a little bit to make your sound a little bit more clear, and also will phase align the sound. So it will align the phase frequencies so that there's less distortion. And you guys can look up on Google basically exactly how it does this. But yeah, there's some definitely some wizardry going on with the BBE stuff. But essentially, it's like aligning the phase of your music and making it to sound less distorted and more clear is essentially what it does. And I have experienced this effect with the BBE Sonic Stomp guitar pedal. It does work. Definitely adds more clarity, although how processed it is can depend on how much you want it, right? And so far as I know, Cowon is the only company that uses this BBE effect in their players. I don't know why more players don't use it, because honestly, it is a pretty interesting effect. It does, if you have it as set to 5, I think it's fine. If you set it too high, it can sound a bit artificial. But if you just leave it around the middle setting, I think it sounds natural enough, and it will enhance your music, add a bit more clarity, and sound less distorted, sound more cleaner, basically. So I don't know why more companies don't use or license the BBE effect, because you can just license it, but it seems like Cowon's the only one that did that. And yeah, it's only in their Plenue players. So it is an interesting effect. A lot of people like it. So MP Enhance is basically the ability to upsample your music to a higher bit rate. It's kind of a similar effect to Acetone Current's DAR, which is a kind of a digital audio remastering technology. So Cowon has that as well. It's called MP Enhance. If you want to upsample your lower bitrate tracks to high resolution, you can do that. Some people don't like it. Purists don't like it. Then you can leave it off. But some people just want to have, higher resolution tracks. It might sound a little bit better. Then you can turn it on. And then this is a reverb effects, which honestly, I have tried these. I don't think they're very good because they will sound a little bit too artificial to me, and it'll just add some echo, basically. You can change the reverb mode from room, club, hall, auditorium, cathedral, stadium, canyon, and long. This is almost like adding these kind of effects to, it works for guitar, right? Because if I'm playing my guitar, then I add a reverb pedal, and it has these reverb modes, and okay, that's cool, right? You add some cool things to your sound, but for listening, I'm not sure. When I'm listening, I don't want to have these extra reverb effects. It just sounds really weird. So I generally leave the reverb effects off. I find the reverb effects a little bit too weird for me when I'm listening. Creating music, sure, fine, but listening to music, I rather leave them off. But the BB effect is cool, and I think definitely mock bass is more of a preference thing. I prefer to leave the mock bass a little bit lower, but some people really like the mock bass and they turn it up high. But for me, I do like to have the BBE though. The BBE is a cool thing that only Cowon has. So those are the user adjusted preferences for EQ. You can have 4 of them, and like I said, you can tune the EQ to whatever you want depending on what headphones or IEMs you're listening to. You can kind of tune that. Normal setting is just normal, of course, nothing added, taken away from the sound. That's the purest option. If you add in BBE or add in the sonic enhancement, like I said, that'll phase align your music and make it sound more clean and undistorted, I guess, less distorted. So generally, it's a pretty nice effect. If you just want to have a minimal enhancement to your, a nice small little enhancement to your music, I think that's good to leave on. Viva and Viva 2, I'm not exactly sure about these settings. I think they sound a little bit more artificial to me, but they definitely change your music a little bit more. Mach 3 bass will definitely add a deeper bass to your sound. Some people like it. I prefer leaving it off because it does sound like it's almost too much, and yeah, a little bit too much bass, but hey, some people like it. MP is actually one of my preferred EQ presets here because it upsamples the quality of the audio track and also adds in the BB effect as well. BBE headphone. Now I think the regular BBE is just meant for like earphones and in-ear monitors. But if you have full-size headphones, I think that's what these are for. Although they kind of sound weird to me, so I don't really use them all that often. And then you have your standard EQ presets that you see in other music players like rock, jazz, classical, ballad, pop, club, funk, hip hop, techno, blues, metal, dance, rap, wide. X bass. I'm not sure how that's different from mock bass. Hall, vocal, maestro, feel the wind, mild, shore, crystal clear. I'm not exactly sure. I think these are just different EQ presets that Cowon made up. The reverb stuff, like I said, I don't like them too much. Like the reverb room, I think is okay. It's not too bad, but then the other ones are just way too noticeable and just sound weird to me when I use it with music. It just sounds like, oh, you're getting an echo of the music, or it sounds underwater or something like that. It's just weird. So I generally don't like those reverb stuff. Reverb room is okay. But yeah, I don't deal with this kind of EQ. I don't know if you guys do, but having this many EQ options, like who's gonna switch EQ options every time they listen to a different track, right? That's just kind of a nuisance to do, right? If you can do it automatically, okay, maybe that's cool, but yeah. I know Creative has something like that. Creative Zen players, they had something to automatically switch the EQ depending on the type of track, the genre of the music that you're listening to. Now that would be cool, but yeah, generally I just pick one EQ setting and stick with it. In my case, I like to stick it on BBE MP. So you can also change the display here. So language, English, font, time display, display off. Brightness, show song change, you can change those settings. Time, you can change your time here. I mean, it does have a clock, right? Music, you can change the skip interval, seek interval, resume, play speed, headphone mode. Headphone mode is if you're listening to full-size headphones. Again, I'm not really sure exactly what it changes here. Maybe some EQ setting it changes. And DAC filter, you can change that from fast, low latency, phase comp, slow. Okay, so this is just some DAC filter stuff. I think it's related to the Cirrus Logic DAC that they're using there. Let's leave it on default there. Bluetooth, so it does have Bluetooth. So you can turn it on, and I'm not sure exactly the version of Bluetooth they're using here. Yeah, I'm not sure what Bluetooth version it uses, and I'm not sure if it supports aptX or any codec or anything like that. But yeah, kind of an interesting interface here. Yeah, you press this to search for Bluetooth devices, this little icon right here for searching. And then this is for connecting this as a connecting headsets or something. This is a two-way Bluetooth. Oh, there's some icons here. Okay. Well, anyways, it has Bluetooth. So that's more than what I can say about Cowon's other players. So Cowon's older players didn't have Bluetooth at all. So this is one of the only Cowon players to even have Bluetooth. So that's something. System here, this hearing production is on, which will limit the amount of volume, which, by the way, I actually have something to plug in for the volume to work. Let's just put something in here. Okay. So yeah, the volume will go all the way up to 140 steps. So keep that in mind. It is not like other players where it goes to 100. So there's 140 steps with this thing. So anyways, yeah, that's how much you can change the volume. Yeah, so there's sleep mode, button lock. I guess hearing protection will limit your volume. Audio output device, balanced output first, unbalanced output first. Okay, so that's kind of a priority thing. Audio left to right. Okay, so this is a channel balance thing. You can do that with most players. LED is on. Database update. Okay. So I guess, by the way, it will update your music tracks when you first put in more music. It will automatically update the tracks when you turn on the player, but I guess you can also get it to manually do that as well. And this information, free space 97%. Yeah, I haven't used up too much space yet. I'm just testing it for now. But yeah, those are the settings, which yeah, let's go back here. Yeah, like you can only get into the settings by going into the player first, which is kind of a weird UI, but you go into the player and then you go into the settings from the player. You can favorite this track. You can add it to a different playlist here. AB, this is something that actually I'm not sure exactly what this does. Yeah, I'm not sure what this AB thing is actually. I'll have to see what that is later. This is changing audio output, so earphone mode or headphone mode. Like maybe there's an EQ difference between the two. I'm not exactly sure what that difference is. Unbalanced output first, balanced output first. That's a priority thing. Bluetooth, you can turn it on or off. I'm just gonna leave it off for now. So yeah, it looks like there's a headset mode. There's like one just for headsets and then one just for streaming music. So there's like a different Bluetooth transmitting modes or something. And you can adjust the left-right balance from here as well. This one is a different interface or something. This is kind of like a cover flow type of interface. You guys remember iPod cover flow? Yeah, so this is like a cover flow type of interface where you kind of like scroll different albums covers and stuff. So I think this is Cowon's equivalent of cover flow. It's kind of jank, but okay, it's there. And then yeah, you can just go by albums here. You can select a song like that. Okay. Well, it did select it, so oh. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit jank. So I probably wouldn't use that much, but there's a cover flow or album flow type of view. Elapsed time display, 100% play speed. You can change the play speed. That's interesting. I don't know many other players where you can do that, but that's cool, I guess. If you need to slow down or speed up a track, you can do that here. You can actually show remaining time or elapsed time. BB effect, again, you can kind of change the EQ presets here. Like I usually leave it on BB but you can change the jet effect there and the skin of the player. So that's a lot of settings that you can do. Cowon has actually one of the largest amounts of, I would say, EQ presets and ability to change your music and stuff. There's a lot of different settings that you can do with the player here. So it's actually a pretty fully featured player in terms of that, being able to change up your sound and stuff. So it is pretty interesting. Yeah, anyways, I'm going to check out the sound of this device and kind of also do a comparison between this and some of the other similar DAPs in the price range that you guys might be thinking of in terms of size and price. Yeah, doing comparison, and then tell you guys what I think about the sound quality as well. But certainly when it comes to the settings of the player, like there is a lot of settings, right? Yeah, you guys have just saw. So overall, it's pretty cool. I just think that the interface is a little bit confusing, a little bit jank sometimes, but overall it does what it's supposed to do. It's pretty responsive, and there is a lot of different EQ presets that you can apply to the music, so there's definitely a lot of options there for shaping your music the way that you want. Something that other digital audio players might have very limited EQ presets, but this one does have a lot, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, really, really cool, neat, interesting little player. The size of the device, yeah, is really, really nice. Like, I really wish more digital audio player makers would make a device like this size, right? That's really small, portable, easy to carry. And this is a pretty nice looking one. So Cowon was one of the only companies making some of these higher end digital audio players, but in a smaller form factor, right? Now you really don't see too much of that anymore. The Aston Kern SP3000M is like the only one I can think of where it's kind of like very high end, but also kind of portable. But you don't really see that too much anymore. Yeah, I would like more music player manufacturers to kind of go back to this size. It'd be nice. A lot of the older ones, the older DAPs that you see from like Cowon and Opus, right? Some of the other players, some of the older Aston Kerns, you can see that they have a kind of a smaller form factor. So I really wish today's DAP makers would go back to that form factor. But yeah, anyways, really, really cool, small little device here. Yeah, very, very capable for its size and price. Okay, so I found out what this AB setting does, and it's actually a really cool, unique, interesting setting that you don't really find in other players. So just like with jet effect and the play speed, the Cowon does stuff that I don't really see in any other player. And with this AB thing, what it does is basically when you're playing a track, yeah, you can mark a section of the track A, and then you can mark another section of the track B. And basically what it does is it'll start looping over that section of the song. So the section of the song you mark A and B, basically in between those, you'll just keep looping it and repeating that section as long as you have that turned on. And you might be wondering why do that. What's the use case in that? Well, there's a few niche use cases. Basically, if you're trying to study a language then it can be useful to learn that language, I guess, to repeat the same, I guess, the part of the section of the song or something, or it can be used as a backing track. So if you're a musician, like I'm a guitarist, right? And I want to have like a backing track when I play guitar. Let's say there's a section of a song that I really like to play, like play guitar over. Then I can just use this setting, like I'll do A, and then I'll stop it at B, and that section will just keep on repeating, and then I can kind of play guitar over it for practicing and stuff. You can do the same for vocals as well. If you have a part like you want to do karaoke, you have a part that you think is that you want to sing over and over to kind of practice your vocal training, you can do that as well. So there's a few niche use cases for this A-B thing. It's utterly unique. I haven't seen any other player do this. It's very interesting. Of course, not everyone's going to use it, but it's a very interesting feature to have on this player is, yeah, you create like a section of the song to just loop over and repeat. Yeah, definitely a pretty interesting setting for sure. All right, so now let's do some comparisons to other digital audio players that are similar in size and price. And the first comparison I'll make from the Plenue is the Sony Walkman A306, which I did a review video on earlier this year. I compared it to the Shanling M1 Plus, which, by the way, I don't have the Shanling M1 Plus in this video. I would like to do a comparison to that one too, since that one's also kind of small and good price as well and good sound quality. But unfortunately, I have to pick players that's easy to return and will come in time for this video. That one was from a third-party seller, and I didn't want to deal with that. But yeah, that's why I don't have the Shanling M1 Plus in this video. I would like to have it in this comparison, but anyways, I have the Sony A306 here, the Walkman. Comparing these two, in terms of just sound quality, I don't think it's really that close of a comparison. I mean, the Sony Walkman A306 is nice. I mean, definitely sounds like nice, warm, musical type of sound, but in terms of just pure sound quality, no, the Cowon Plenue will just blow it away. I mean, just talking about resolution, the separation between notes, the blacker background, yeah, the Cowon Plenue will just, I would think, destroy it in sound quality, to be honest. And that's in addition just to having the jet effect presets, which the jet effect stuff on the Cowon is like, I don't think any other digital audio player even touches it, right? Like you can go with Astell and Kern, you can go with Lotu, you can go with Hidizs or Cowon, any of these high-end brands, Ibeso or Fio, none of the EQ will touch the BBE and Mach bass. And this stuff is just, they do it in such a way that's very like natural sounding, I think, and that's what makes the jet effect stuff so nice. And I think that's why Cowon has kind of a dedicated fan base. Like just their players, I mean, in terms of sound quality, it's really good, but just the jet effect just puts it over the top, right? Like this, the BBE setting, the Mach 3 bass, 3D surround, MP enhance, and then adding the reverb. That's in addition to your standard EQ stuff. Yeah, the DSP stuff in Cowon is really, really good, the jet effect stuff. So that's something that no other digital audio player brand has. So that's why a lot of people who are Cowon fans, they just keep coming back to Cowon players, because no other digital audio player can compete with jet effect, honestly, in terms of DSP and equalizer settings. Like that's, I don't know, they just somehow do it in a way that just sounds really natural, you know, sounds really good. And I'll show you guys in a sound comparison test and later in this video how good the jet effect stuff can be. But yeah, in terms of just pure sound quality, no, the Plenue, it just blows away the Sony Walkman. And the Sony Walkman is more expensive too, I think. Actually, no, this is retail price. This was like near $400, I would say. So I wouldn't say necessarily. The Walkman you can get for $300 US right now. So yes, the Plenue is like a little bit more expensive originally, but if you want to look at just the interface, right? So sound quality wise, I don't think is particularly close. I think the Cowon Plenue would just blow it away. Not to say the Walkman A306 is bad sounding or anything. It's just not going to match up to the Cowon Plenue in terms of sound quality, especially when you have jet effect available on the Cowon. But the interface is a different story. I think the Sony Walkman interface is pretty good. So yeah, overall, just the music player for Sony Walkman is really nice. You guys can see like it looks very modern-ish. So this is the Walkman Music app, right? You can download that from the Android store. But yeah, it'll show you like all the settings for the bit rate, sample rate for the songs, album cover. You can favorite it. Of course, you got your basic play pause controls, which by the way, this is what the hardware looks like. right? So you got volume buttons are not on a dial when it comes to Sony Walkman. I guess Sony doesn't like to use volume dials. They like to use buttons instead for adjusting the volume, and then you got play, pause, and next track. Previous track, you got a hold button right there, power on button right there, and USB-C, micro SD. For some reason, this is a blocked out port. I'm not sure why. And then 3.5 millimeter. It does not have a bounced out. This is the cheapest player in Sony's Walkman line, so that's probably why they don't have bounced out. And overall, pretty nicely built, made in China. But yeah, overall, it's not plastic or anything. It's actually something a little bit different, but it's pretty nice in terms of the feel. So it feels pretty premium. But in terms of the UI, yeah, I think that the Sony Walkman is a bit better. Because the Cowon UI is a little bit more basic and simple, I would say. There we go. Yeah, it's a little bit more basic and simple, and it's not terrible or anything. But I would say the UI for Cowon a little bit more basic and simple, especially when you go back to the main menu and stuff. And this is all you have. It's a custom operating system that's kind of based on Android 2.3, I think. But overall, it's a pretty bare bones operating system, especially when it comes to searching, right? You guys know the searching goes basically. Yeah, so searching is not very intuitive on the Cowon. Basically, you got to press this little like setting star button here, and then you can do the search, and then it becomes landscape, and then you got to type in your artist name in here. If I want to say Van Halen, for example, and then you press enter, and then it comes up like this. Like that's very, I would say, kind of janky and not intuitive. So there's not a very good UI. It's responsive, like it's fast, but it's just not a very good UI. It's a little bit confusing to use. Like it took me a while to even find the search. Like if I was on a song here, right? I was on a song. Sure, you can switch between songs and everything, like by doing this. You can kind of switch between songs. Whoops. But it's like if I want to search from here, I can't. I was looking at this and I was like, where's the search, right? It's like you can't search from here. You have to go back to the main menu and then press this one, and then you can search. Like, yeah, that's not really good UI. Sony Walkman is pretty easy because it's actually running full Android 14 here, fairly modern version of Android. So yeah, if you're going to go in the app, first of all, yeah, it's running full Android, so you can download whatever apps you want on here, like streaming apps, Spotify, Tidal, whatever you want, you can download on here because it's running full Android 14. That's something Cowon cannot do. Cowon is a closed operating system. So aside from just downloading whatever app you want, even watching YouTube is possible on the Walkman. You can't do that on Cowon either. But yeah, searching is it's just right up front on the Walkman app. Right, I actually don't really have many songs loaded on here, but if I want to search for that one, right, just pretty easy, right? It's already here, you know. That's so easy to do. And I know the A306 is a bit laggy because this is not using a high-end processor. Like Sony kind of put like kind of a slower processor on this one because it's their entry-level DAP. But still, in terms of just the UI interface here, it's much better than the Cowon, right? If you want to use this as USB-C DAC, you can do that. Genre, album, all songs. Yeah, right now I don't have too many loaded on here, but you know, just the interface itself is a lot better than the Cowon's. So if you're just talking about UI, yeah, the Walkman easily wins that. In terms of sound quality, the Plenue easily wins that. So it's like, do you want to give up the UI for sound quality or not? Really depends. In terms of the actual size and form factor, I think they're both really portable. Obviously, you can see that the Plenue is still a bit smaller. However, it is a bit thicker as well. So you guys can see the thickness here. Yeah, the Plenue is thicker than the Walkman, but in terms of actual dimensions and footprint, it is smaller. So both of them are pocketable though. You know, all the comparisons I'll be making to other DAPs in this video, they'll be for pocketable DAPs. But basically, your decision between the Sony Walkman A306 and the Plenue D3 will be, do I really care about the sound quality or do I care about the interface more? D3 has the better sound quality, especially with the jet effect, DSP stuff. That's really good sounding. But the Walkman does win it when it comes to the UI, and especially being able to install other apps as well because it runs full Android. And a few other options that you can do with the Sony music player. You can swipe to the left and you get the playing queue. If you swipe to the right, you get your favorites. And then if you swipe down, you get the equalizer. So if you turn the equalizer on, you can adjust all the bands from 31 Hertz all the way to 16,000. And then you can You can adjust DSE Ultimate, which is actually something similar to the Cowon's MP, the BBE MP. So essentially what it does is it tries to upsample all the music that you have into high resolution. So yeah, similar to what the Cowon Plenue does with the BBE MP setting. So you have that DSE Ultimate. I'm not sure which one came out first, but Sony does have that too. You got the DC Phase Linearizer as well, another Sony technology. The dynamic normalizer, which minimizes volume differences between songs, and this is pretty useful because some songs, for me at least, when I download the songs, because I'm loading them offline, they might have volume differences. So this will kind of adjust that to make sure that all the volume is the same. That's it. That is pretty useful when you have offline files like me. And vinyl processor, which duplicates the sound of a vinyl record, which essentially just rolls off the treble a bit, makes it sound a bit warmer and smoother. And Clear Audio Plus, which I think this thing adds a little bit more treble, a little bit more bass. It's similar to Creative's X5 Crystallizer from back in the day. Yeah, so you have a lot of different DSP settings for the Sony as well, although I would say not quite as good as the Jet Effect and BBE settings on the Cowon. But you do have that. Yeah, I just prefer the Jet Effect settings, I think, a bit more. But Sony does have a bunch of their DSP settings as well, which is a little bit hit and miss in my opinion. And also, yeah, the Bluetooth 5 is the version on here, and it supports LDAC. That's something that the Cowon I don't think does. The Cowon does have Bluetooth. I think it's a lower Bluetooth version. It doesn't have LDAC support or aptX support. And as well, this has balanced support, right? 2.5 millimeter output, that's balanced. Sony does not have that on the A306, only a 3.5 millimeter unbalanced output. So another issue with the Sony Walkman is that Sony does not publish the specs of their output power, nor do they tell you the DAC that they use, because it's all proprietary in-house stuff. So I think Sony calls their amp the S-Master digital amplifier, and they have a proprietary DAC along with it. So it makes it hard to compare to other DAPs because the Walkman does not publish the specs. So what I can tell you guys though is that it's not that powerful. So already I was just using IEMs, and I think I had it down to about 80 out of 120 steps. So this goes up to 120 steps in volume. Yeah, it goes up to 120 steps in volume, and I had mine about 80 here to drive an IEM. And usually IEMs are not very hard to drive, right? In your monitors, they don't require too much power output. So the fact that I'm already on 80 here tells you that the A306 does not have that much power on tap. And in fact, Sony Walkmans in general do not have much power on tap. Even though Sony doesn't publish exactly how much output power they have, I can tell you that it does not have very much. And the Plenue definitely has more power on tap. It goes up to 140 steps. So yeah, that's the Sony Walkman A306. There's another small DAP I want to compare the Cowon to, and that is the Hidizs AP80 Pro X. I did a video review on this last year, I believe, and I think this is a little bit more comparable in some ways because, I mean, look at the form factor, right? Like this thing, the Hidizs AP80 Pro X, is actually even smaller than the Plenue D3. See, you guys can tell. Thickness-wise, I mean, I think the Plenue is still a little bit thicker. But actual footprint wise, the Hidizs AP80 Pro X is, yeah, it's even smaller. It's really tiny. So I thought I might do this comparison as well. So yeah, both of course take an SD card slot. AP80 uses a custom operating system as well. So some kind of custom Linux, does not run Android, and does not really support your streaming apps either. So this is a closed operating system, much like the Plenue. And you have your, you have your previous, next, play, pause, and your volume dial right here on the right side. As the back here, and on the bottom you have USB Type-C and a 2.5 millimeter balanced and 3.5 millimeter. So yeah, just like the Cowon, it has a 2.5 millimeter balanced connector. Which is, I mean, maybe they did this to save space, but 4.4 would have been preferred because 4.4 connector is the standard now for balanced connections when it comes to portable stuff now. So yeah, anyways, both of these have 2.5, which is kind of an older balanced connector, but at least better, better than the Sony Walkman, because the A306 doesn't have any balanced connection at all. So let's take a look at the operating system. I think the Hidizs actually has the worst operating system out of these three, because Okay, I'm just playing this song right here, right? So you can swipe up and yeah, you can kind of turn Bluetooth on and off. By the way, this is Bluetooth, I think 4.2 with aptX support and LDAC support. So it has better Bluetooth support than the Cowon. So yeah, if you have aptX or LDAC, you can use yeah, AP80 for that. Although the Sony Walkman A306 has the best support when it comes to Bluetooth. Gain, you can change from low to high here. Volume steps goes all the way up to, I believe, 100, but I didn't have to turn this one up too high. I can tell this one definitely had more output power than the Sony Walkmans. Yeah, I think this one goes all the way up to 100, right? Yeah, this one goes up to 100. But this one definitely has a decent amount of output power. I think in order to drive my IEMs, remember how on the Walkman I had it set to 80? Yeah, this one I only had it set to 35. So that tells you this one has much more output power than the Walkman does. And honestly, I think it has more output power than the Cowons as well. So it has a decent amount of output power here. The DAC that this uses is dual ESS Saber ES9219, which is fairly decent DAC. It's not like the best flagship ESS DAC, but it's still pretty good. And yeah, the Plenue has the old Cirrus Logic flagships, dual CS 43131s. In terms of sound quality, I would say it's fairly comparable actually. The Hidizs AP80 Pro X is pretty nice sounding. It's yeah, it's fairly neutral reference level and it's very detailed, highly resolving. So the DAC on this is pretty good. And in terms of the sound quality, I can say that it's better than the Walkman A306. I can already tell that. And with the Plenue, it's close. Just the Plenue might still have the edge because of the BBE jet effect stuff. But yeah, in terms of like, if you just don't care about the jet effect stuff, then just the pure sound quality, I think the Hidizs AP80 is pretty close to the Plenues. Might be actually a little bit better, in fact. And then you can use this as a USB drive as well. You can do kind of play pause from here. The brightness and volume you can change from here as well. But yeah, this is the actual player. It's fairly bare bones and basic, I would say. You can just add to playlist, equalizer, view album, properties or delete. Equalizer is pretty basic as well. That's your basic equalizer here. Turn on master switch. Okay. So yeah, you can go all the way up to 16 kilohertz here from 31 kilohertz. So yeah, and then you have your basic settings here as well. But definitely it's nowhere near what you can do on the Cowon with the jet effect stuff. So that's a very basic equalizer. You can tell that maybe the operating system is pretty simple as well. So this and the Plenue both have a simplistic operating system. So if I go here, yeah, so they both have a pretty simplistic operating system. At least the Hidizs will give you the album artwork here. The Cowon does not. However, and you can go do this to go back to the track here. No lyrics. Okay. Yeah. If you go here, yeah, you can kind of update database. You have MSEB, which is something that I'm familiar with Hibby players or Hibby players, that you can adjust the temperature, base extension. So this is a little bit something that is closer to jet effect. Although I still prefer jet effect, I think jet effect does it better. But MSEB, which you can also find on Hibby players and KM players, this is actually pretty good as well. You can adjust this stuff. You can reduce sibilance if you want. You can add more air, female overtones, vocals, note thickness, bass texture, overall temperature. Yeah, still not as good as jet effect in my opinion, but it's closer to that. So it's a little bit better than just the basic. You have the basic EQ, right? But you also have the MSEB, which is better than nothing. So that's not bad having that. And then of course you can go to equalizer here as well. But yeah, the major problem actually with the Hidizs AP80 Pro X, and I talked about this in my review of it a year ago, is the interface. So the thing that really bothers me the most is the fact that you can't really search. So, with Cowon, the Plenue, like I kind of complain about the searching, right? But at least you can do it, right? So here, right, if I want to search for, Le Seraphim right here, right? So I can do that. And you'll find it, and I can do it, right? I can search for them. Like, search is not great. I mean, it's kind of annoying that you have to go to landscape mode and do that, but at least you can do it. On the Hidizs, you can't do that at all. It's just, you can't search. So, oops. Yeah, you can't search. So you can go to favorites, recents, playlists, and not being able to search is honestly the worst thing. And I have a micro SD card with 20,000 different tracks on here. So there's 20,000 songs on here, right? And if you want to be able to just go to the songs, you only have these options. Files, which is just browsing all the files on your SD card. Albums, artists, genres, format. That's it. There's no search. Yeah, and you can view all, of course. But like, there's no search, and that's a huge issue when you have a lot of songs like me, right? I have 20,000 songs. In order to find, let's say, Le Seraphim, right? Then I have to like go down on the side here, right? And this is kind of laggy too. So you see how it lags like this, right? Look, it's still going, right? It's hella laggy. Oh, it's still going. Okay, let's see when it stops. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty bad, right? If I want to go to Le Seraphim, I actually have to go to L, but then it's kind of hard to go to L because, yeah, like, oh, look at that, just jump back to J, you know? Like, I want to go to L, right? Just L. Like, here I can do add to playlist, but whatever. But, yeah, I want to go to, like, L, right? So, you see how hard that is to do? And I'm back to J. Like, well, what just happened? I was just at L, right? So this interface is honestly horrible. It might be one of the worst. It might be just one of the worst user interfaces I've ever used for a digital audio player. You can't search. Even the Luxury and Precision interface let me search, and that was a terrible interface too. So the fact that you can't search is pretty horrible. Like, you just have, yeah, just files, albums, artists, genres, and formats. Okay, so if I go to files, what if I go to micro SD, because that's the only place you can put stuff, right? There's no built-in internal storage. Okay, and yeah, pretty much all you gotta do is like scroll. That's the only way you can get to your files. Like, this is terrible. So yeah, that is absolutely a horrible interface. I don't know, like, if you have a lot of songs, it's basically not usable, basically. So I think that's the problem with the Hidizs AP80 Pro X is, yeah, the sound quality is quite good. Like, I am impressed by the ESS Saber DAC inside of here and the sound quality itself. Like, the sound quality might be even a little bit better than the Cowon's, not counting for jet effect. If I put jet effect on, then the Cowon's still better. But in terms of sound quality wise, it's pretty close between the two. This is, of course, a little bit even more portable. So this is an extremely portable player. It has balanced, which is nice. Bluetooth support, which is good. But the interface is unusable if you have a lot of songs, because you're not allowed to search. There's no searching. So if you can't search, then like, how are you going to find a song? You have 20,000 songs. How am I going to do that? Just keep scrolling every time. So yeah, that makes this thing pretty much unusable, in my opinion. So I don't know, and this is a pretty basic music player too. So yeah, I think the UI for the Hidizs is the worst out of all of them. So which is unfortunate, because the size is really, really portable and compact, and the sound quality is quite good, definitely better than the Walkman. But the UI is the worst. So it's funny because it's like, if you care about the UI, the Sony Walkman comes in first, and then the Plenue, and then the Hidizs, in that order. But if you care about the sound quality, then it will kind of go like, okay, if you use BBE and jet effect, I think Plenue and Hidizs are kind of tied, if you want to care about sound quality, and then Walkman will come after that. So out of these three overall, like, maybe the Plenue is still the best, because it has not a great UI, but at least you can search, and sound quality is really good. So yeah, anyways, the Hidizs has the worst UI out of the three, unfortunately. Power wise, I think the Hidizs actually has the most out of them in terms of power. So if you want to drive your headphones and stuff like that, I think the Hidizs is the best out of the three for that. But the UI is just basically unusable, and to me, like, that's a huge factor, right? If you're going to be using this with a lot of songs, how can you use this without being able to search? You know, like, it's just I don't know, like, how could they even make this without being able to search? You know, like, that's something that you can do even in like, if you go back to old school players from 2000s. So yeah, I don't know, just the Hidizs UI is just so bad, so that makes it pretty much unusable for me, even if the sound quality is quite good for what it is. And this could cost $200, right? $200 US almost. This is like $300 US. This is like around almost $400 US. So, but they're all fairly compact, which is nice. Okay, this is another thing I really don't like about the Hidizs AP80 Pro X, but yeah, in this UI, for some reason, when you go to the artist view and then you go to the album, like for example, I'm in the Beatles, right? So I go to Beatles and I go to Abbey Road, and yeah, for some reason, all the tracks are filtered by alphabetical order. I'm not sure why that is, and I'm not sure if you can change it or anything, but that's extremely annoying because, yeah, like, why would you want that? You know, if I'm listening to an album, I want to have the original album order, you know, especially for older albums where the album order is very important, right? In the case of Abbey Road or Sgt. Pepper's or Dark Side of the Moon, you know, like albums like that, like, it's meant to be listened in the order that the album presents itself. You know, why mess with the order like this? So this is all listed in alphabetical order, which is very, very, like this just shouldn't happen. You know, I don't think any music player should do this. Like, don't mess with the order of the album, right? The first track on Abbey Road should be Come Together, but you know, it's alphabetical order. So because is the first one because it's alphabetical order. But why? You know, why do that? Like, it seems to be fine if I go to album view. If I go to album view, I go to Abbey Road. Okay, Come Together is the first one. Okay, that makes sense. This is the order of the Abbey Road album, right? So this one, yeah, well, this is actually the Super Deluxe Edition. But yeah, this makes sense. Like this order because that's the original order the album was in, right? Come Together, then Something, then Maxwell Silverhammer, Oh Darling, right? That's the order it's supposed to be in. But then if you go to artist view, for whatever reason, it messes up with the order. Like, yeah, and then it goes alphabetical. I don't know. It's only in the artist view, right? Like this, it's just very weird. If I go to yeah, let's find like another one. Like if I get, for example, if I go to yeah, like pretty much any of these artists, right? Like the Strokes, okay? Yeah, it's in alphabetical order. Like, what the heck, man? If you go to artist view, just every album is in alphabetical order for whatever reason. I don't know why. Yeah, it's all in alphabetical order. It's only in the artist view, but the album view, it's fine. But just when you go to artist view, then the albums are in alphabetical order. I don't know why. That completely messes things up, right? Because you're used to listening to albums in the order that they're presented on the album. Why mess things up by doing that? Okay, another small audio player I'm going to put into this comparison as well is the Microsoft Zune HD. And yes, I know this is a pretty old device. This came out back in 2010, and this is the 16 gigabyte version. Yeah, they were all flash storage back then. Doesn't have a micro SD card slot, no. But you know what? This is a pretty nice sounding music player. I actually did a comparison test between this and the Creative Zen and Apple iPod 9th generation, the Arco 7, and the Philips PMC in a video a couple weeks ago. And this one I think actually sounded the best out of all of them. And yeah, honestly, the sound quality is pretty good out of the Zune HD. And to be honest, the interface might be one of the best I've ever experienced in a music player. I mean, it's just so smooth, right? So let's just forget the fact that this thing can do a lot of other stuff too. Like, these things are just music players, right? This thing can also, has internet, yeah, it has an internet browser, which probably does not work anymore. So yeah. That internet browser probably does not work anymore. But yeah, it could surf the internet back then. You even have as a friends list, social, you have a marketplace, which is no longer there anymore. But yeah, it had all that. At radio, this is something that, yeah, I don't think these players have either. Pictures and video support. The Sony actually does have that because it's full Android, so you can, you know, just use your Android apps with it. But yeah, a lot of the modern digital audio players don't even have these features, right? So yeah, not even gonna mention the fact that the Zune HD can do actually a lot more in terms of functionality, but let's just focus on the music part. Okay, this interface is super smooth. Yeah, you basically, it just doesn't lag at all. It's very, very responsive. So you can go by artists here, you can go by playlist, you can go by songs, right? There's all the songs, genres, albums, right? So you have the album view right there. And yeah, going back to artists here. So you guys can see the interface is actually really, really smooth, right? So say I go to Ariana Grande here. So yeah, I can see her albums. I can check out what songs I have from her. So yeah, I'm gonna go with this one, Moonlight. And this is the now playing view. Now it doesn't have the dedicated media controls that the other digital audio players have. So you can just pause it from here, and you adjust your volume like this as well. So right from this little interface here. So there is no dedicated, I mean, you can use this, right? This is just a single button you can use to kind of bring up this menu here. Then you can adjust the volume, but there's no like dedicated button per se to adjust the volume or play pause or anything like that. But you can just bring it all up. You can just kind of bring up this menu where you can kind of go to next track, previous track, play pause, and then adjust the volume, all from this little overlay right here. So I mean, yeah, it would be nice to have like some kind of volume rocker here or play pause or something, but it's okay. I mean, this is an OLED screen, by the way, as well. So that's something that the Cowon has as well, but the other digital audio players. In fact, even if you go into the high end, if you get into like the flagship digital audio players that cost like thousands of dollars, they don't even have OLED screens these days. So this is something that the Zune HD and the Plenue have that the more expensive digital audio players today don't have, is actually OLED screens. I'm not sure why, but it's nice to have OLED, right? So yeah, here you can do a repeat, shuffle here as well. You can favorite it. Yeah, so you can see some basic stuff here, right? And take a look. Yeah, I don't think we can see the lyrics here. But anyways, pretty smooth interface though, with this overlay. Go back like that. And if you go to your now playing view, right, you can actually switch to it from here. Yeah, so you can see your history of things that you played here as well. Even so, it has the radio right there, so you can go back to the history of the songs that you played here, and that's really cool, right? I don't know which other digital audio player does this, where you have an entire history of songs that you played, and you can just go back to any of these easily from here. Yeah, it's pretty convenient actually. Yeah, again, I don't think that any other digital audio player does that, so it's pretty cool just having that kind of interface. And actually, if I don't, let's actually show you another thing about this thing, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna play this, and then if I don't touch anything, it will just automatically go into a really cool looking screensaver, actually. So yeah, and this just has one home button right here. Power button is on top. Yeah. And that's that menu button. And down here it's a proprietary charger, unfortunately, but that's how it was back in the day because of the iPod and stuff. So yeah, remember the iPod had the 30-pin connector, right? This is something similar. It's not exactly the same as the iPod. And just one 3.5 millimeter. Of course, this being a more mainstream device, it doesn't have balanced output. That wasn't available back then. But yeah, really nice OLED display. Beautiful interface. In fact, it's my favorite UI out of all these in terms of just UI. And sound quality is actually pretty good. I would say the sound quality is pretty much on par with the Sony Walkman, to be honest. Like, yeah, the Sony Walkman is a dedicated music player, although it's actually a full Android device. But yeah, to be honest, like, I felt like the sound quality is like pretty similar between these two. So I mean, anyways, I'll do a sound comparison test. Maybe you guys can tell if that's true or not. But I feel like the sound quality is pretty similar between Zune HD and Sony Walkman. And yeah, thickness wise, Zune HD is actually the thinnest out of all of them. It's a pretty thin device because it was meant to compete with the iPod Nano, right? So it's a pretty thin device. Yeah, we'll just wait a bit for this to go into the screensaver mode. If you just leave it idling for like maybe less than a minute or so, maybe a minute, we'll just wait. Yeah, here we go. It should go into the screensaver. Yeah, so this is a screensaver mode. It is pretty cool. And there's different screensavers basically. So this one is like you have the basically where you are in the song. It's just kind of scrolling like this diagonally. But it will kind of switch it up, so you guys can just wait a bit and see. Okay. And it'll switch up. It's actually really, really cool. And again, this is something I haven't seen other digital audio players really do. is have this kind of a screensaver. So this is actually really, really cool. It tells you the name of the album and everything, and they'll have the album artwork kind of scrolling by as well sometimes. Yeah, I'll have the track name, the album name, the artist, and the album artwork all kind of just scrolling, and actually where you are in the song as well. Yep, see, then I'll switch over. See how that happened? So there's different styles of screensavers, so kind of like switch over. Really, really cool. Yeah. Anyways, that's a really cool feature of the Zune HD that I really like. Again, I haven't seen this on any other digital audio player, but this is a really cool feature, having this like screensaver effect. I mean, you can choose to turn it off or if you don't like it, because obviously it takes up battery, but it's just a really cool thing. And yeah, if you have it like charged on a dock or something and having this display, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, the Zune HD, really, really cool device that honestly, one of my favorite UIs out of any music player, and it sounds pretty decent actually as well. It's not going to be the most detailed sounding player, but and it's not going to have the, obviously it's going to have some kind of level of noise and distortion in the background, but still, it's pretty decent sounding for what it is. I mean, this retailed for like, what, $200 to $300 back then? And it's incredibly thin. Yeah, the only thing is, of course, compared to like the modern music players, it doesn't have an SD card slot, it doesn't have a volume rocker, it doesn't have the play pause and stuff. It doesn't have those features. It just has this is 16 gigabyte, which I'm not sure if this is the highest model. I'm not sure if they made a 32 gigabyte model or not, so you can't put too much music on it. But anyways, it's just still a really cool player though. It's so small and tiny, so I kind of wanted to put it into this comparison as well. So yeah, I'll put this one into the comparison to the Zune HD, and it's really about the same size as the Sony Walkman, just it's a little bit thinner than the Sony Walkman A306. It honestly sounds about the same level as well as the Sony Walkman does. Alright, so yeah, that is the Cowon Plenue D3 and the comparison with some of the other small digital audio players that I own right now. Overall, I think it is very impressive for the size and the cost. I mean, this thing retailed brand new for what, $370, $380 US dollars, close to $400 US. I got it from a local seller for about $220 US, I'd say. So yeah, definitely a very good deal for this kind of device. I really do like the size. It's super pocketable. I really wish more modern DAPs have this kind of size. I know the Hidizs AP Pro 80 and the Sony Walkman are kind of that size, but honestly, more digital audio players should have this kind of size. I know Shanling is coming out with the Onyx XM2, so that one is pretty small as well. So yeah, I hope more DAP manufacturers will make these smaller ones, because I really don't like to have the big chunky ones that you see on flagships these days. But the thing is, this one actually has really, really good sound quality. I know the DACs, the two CS43131, and those are DACs you kind of see like they are kind of like flagship Cirrus Logic DACs, but honestly, it's not something you usually find on flagship devices. So people might be like, yeah, those DACs can't be that great. They can't compare to the AK4499EX. They can't be compared to ES9039 Pro, right? Well, I'm not going to say it's on that level in terms of like resolution and detail and the distortion, the black background, noise and everything like that. I'm sure those newer DACs are better spec'd technically, but the thing that makes the Cowon Plenue D3 really, really special is the jet effect EQ stuff. And, Cowon, they have this kind of fan following, this cult following that really they love Cowon because of the jet effect, mainly because of that. And yeah, after using the Cowon Plenue, I have to agree. Like, it's just, it changes the sound so much, and it does it in a very natural way. So that's something I can't say about other like EQ software, right? So yeah, well, I would say overall the UI is not like really, really great. Oh, here it goes. Yeah, I wouldn't say the UI is like really, really great, especially for the search. Like it's kind of annoying having to tilt it in landscape and stuff to search. And it's a very, very simple UI. It's not Android or anything. Or maybe actually this one is based on Android 2.3, I heard. But anyways, it's a very simple UI. You can't do too much with it. There's Bluetooth. I'm not sure what version, but I don't think there's any aptX or LDAC support. You can't stream stuff, so you can't like use Spotify or Tidal, Qobuz, Deezer. You can't like download any of those apps because it doesn't allow you to use doesn't allow you to sideload apps or anything. It's a pretty closed operating system, so it's very simple music focused UI. Audio focused. It doesn't really do anything other than that, and you can't really download other apps. So it's a pretty limited operating system, and yeah, honestly, it's not like the best operating system for sure. I mean, it's definitely responsive, right? That's something I can say. Okay, if you have a lot of tracks, yeah, it's still pretty responsive. So it's definitely very usable, but yeah, it's like the really thing that really I think sells this thing and makes it sound like a DAP like 10 times the price is the jet effect. So yeah, the jet effect is really, really interesting, and you can make user presets, of course. This is your EQ, which honestly, this EQ interface kind of sucks, right? You don't get that nice parametric EQ type of interface you get with some other digital audio players. So honestly, the EQ is not that great. It's not really like yeah, I've seen much better EQ interfaces from other digital audio players, but it's the BBE stuff, right? The fact that you can make your own user presets for the BBE effects. You can adjust the BBE level, which is how much level you want to have the BBE effect. And the closest thing I can describe for BBE effect is basically it gives a lot of clarity to the sound. So it's almost like boosting up the highs almost to make it sound like the sound is more clear. But it's not just doing that. It's also like fixing any kind of phase issues. So any of the sound arriving to your ears, the BB effect will fix the phase issues of the different frequencies arriving in your ear. So normally, yeah, you might have different drivers that if the frequencies are arriving to your ear at different times, then it feels a little bit distorted. The BBE effect kind of fixes that. So it's kind of hard to describe, but that's what it's doing. It's definitely software wizardry going on here, DSP wizardry. But it works well, I don't set it to 10 because it sounds overprocessed, but if I put it at 5, it's totally fine. Sounds very natural. Mach 3 bass, honestly, this is so good of a bass effect. I mean, I'm not going to put it to 10 because that's too much, or yeah, I put it to about 3 is what I like to set it at. And it will add a lot more texture and rumble to your bass, and in addition to just boosting the bass effect. So it's not just a bass boost, right? A lot of DAPs have this bass boost function. That's just, okay, it's just increasing the bass up, the mid bass or the sub bass up a few decibels. That's what it's doing. This is more than that. This is not just increasing the bass up a few decibels, it's adding more texture and rumble, which is something other EQ, you can't just normally do that with an EQ. It's adding something that only I think this DSP, the Jet Effect DSP, is doing. So the Mach 3 bass is really good. If you have any IEMs that's using balanced armature for the bass, like BA bass, then the Mach 3 bass honestly can make it sound like almost like a dynamic driver. So it will make it it'll give it more like rumble and texture to it. So the Mach 3 bass is actually a really good effect, really nice. And yeah, just like BBE, if you have it set to like, I would say, yeah, up to maybe even 5, it sounds fairly natural. 3D surround, I have that turned off because I feel like this one sounds a bit more artificial than the other two, but it can definitely make it feel like the staging is a little bit wider. But honestly, this one, yeah, it sounds a little bit more artificial than the other two, so I usually leave it off. So the MP Enhance, what this one does is similar to Sony's DSEE HX feature and Aston Kern's DAR feature, where it kind of upsamples the music and gives it higher resolution, or makes it higher resolution. So I usually leave that on. It does make the music sound well, a little bit more detailed, I would say. It's not a huge difference, but in my ears, yeah, it's a little bit more detailed. So I leave that on. And then you can even turn on the reverb, which I have it set to room setting because this is the only one that doesn't feel artificial. The rest of them feel way too over-processed and artificial. But the room setting on a low one, like I set to like maybe 1 to 3, sounds okay. Doesn't sound too artificial. I want it to sound natural, right? So I have reverb set to room and set to 1. But the other ones, yeah. Some of these will sound more artificial than others, especially the reverb ones. But some of these settings are honestly really, really good. It's more than just your basic EQ. It's some kind of DSP wizardry. Yeah, BBE I think is just overall going to enhance your music. I would always at least have it to BBE or BBMP. Yeah, so if you have a Cowon, I don't think I would ever use normal because you have access to BBE and BBMP, which honestly just sounds better. It doesn't sound artificial at all. It sounds pretty natural. So I would just make sure your music sound better. So I would usually leave it on BBE, BBMP at least, but then you can set it to Viva 2. I think these are a little bit more vocal focused. So that's pretty good as well. They're a little bit different. I think in my ears, they sound a little bit more focused for vocals. Mach 3 bass, of course, if you want to add more texture and rumble to your bass and then boost up the bass as well. BB headphone 1, 2, and 3, that's for full-size headphones, which I'm not using full-size headphones these days, so I haven't tried that out too much. But yeah, if you have full-size headphones, I guess that's what that's for. And then the other settings are kind of what you get normally on other EQ software. X bass is the one that just boosts up bass. That does not increase the rumble and texture at all. So I think Mach 3 bass is just better than X bass, in my opinion. There is a vocal setting, but that's kind of just the EQ setting. I think Maestro is the one you'd probably want to go with. This and Viva 2 both kind of increase the vocal texture. So it's not just an EQ boost. So vocal is just an EQ boost because that's something you find on other EQ software. But Maestro will actually increase the vocal texture. As will Viva 2 in a slightly different way. Feel the Wind is a nice one. That's for a wider soundstage, I think. So that's nice. Mild Shore and Crystal Clear. Yeah, these ones, honestly, I don't like them as much, but they're okay too. I think out of my favorite settings, probably for vocal tracks, I think Maestro is probably the best for that. And Feel the Wind if I really want the wider soundstage. And then in general, I think Mach 3 bass, obviously, if I want to boost the bass. MP and Viva 2, I think, are pretty good for most tracks. So, anyways, yeah, it's just the Jet Effects software really pushes the Cowon Plenue over the top, makes it sound like a DAP that's like 10 times the price, really. I mean, that's how good it is. So in terms of sound quality, if I were to judge this based on sound quality, the Jet Effect is kind of a cheat code, you know? If I turn on the Jet Effect, it just goes ahead out of all these guys. So I would probably put it like, in terms of sound quality, the Zune and the Walkman are honestly pretty close. I mean, maybe the Walkman a little bit, if you want that little bit more musical warmth, you can have the Walkman A306 ahead, but the Zune HD is pretty close to the Walkman in terms of sound quality. Although the Zune HD does have a bit of a bass boost, just naturally from the DAP. I didn't change any settings on it, but maybe you guys can hear it on the sound comparison test after this. But yeah, I think the Zune HD definitely has a bit of a bass boost on it. It just comes naturally from the DAP, which is pretty interesting. And then there's like a bigger gap between the Walkman and the AP80 Pro X. AP80 Pro X honestly just sounds like a different level, a higher level than the Walkman does. And then honestly, if you don't have BBE, the Jet Effect turned on, then these two will be pretty similar, like Plenue D3 and AP Pro X. But then if you turn on the Jet Effect, then I would put the Plenue D3 ahead, because the Jet Effect is just so good. It just increases the quality of all your tracks. So that's how I would have it in terms of sound quality. In terms of UI interface, I think the Zune actually would go in front if you're talking about just, hey, how great is the system used for UI, right, for the interface. Zune HD has one of the coolest interfaces, in my opinion. There's no other DAP like it, right, with that smooth interface. And then the Sony Walkman after that, it's almost like it's reversed, isn't it? Not exactly reversed, because the Plenue goes after that, and then the AP80 has the worst UI out of them all. Probably the worst UI, one of the worst UIs I've ever found in a music player, because you cannot even search. And that is a basic feature that the Hidizs is missing. So yeah, in terms of how great is the UI to use, then it's going to be Zune number 1, Walkman number 2, Plenue number 3, and then last place is the AP80 Pro X. In terms of overall, I would probably put Plenue first. Yeah, Plenue is just, once you have the jet effect on, it's so good. And I know the UI can be better and everything, especially for searching, right? It's very basic, but hey, if you just care about audio, it doesn't matter as much, right? You can live with it. It's pretty responsive still. Fast boot up time as well. It takes about 3 seconds to boot up. So you can live with that. It's just the jet effect is so good on this thing. Just make sure all your music, all your IEMs, all your headphones will sound better through this thing. So yeah, because of jet effect, I have to put Cowon Plenue number 1 overall. Then, you know what? I really do like the Zune HD, but I know the Walkman has Android. So yeah, the Android puts the Sony Walkman ahead, I think, because it's more versatile. You can download any app with it, even though the interface is definitely a little bit slower and laggier than the Zune HD is. The Zune HD is very, very responsive. Yeah, the A306 I feel is a little bit laggy in terms of the interface sometimes. So yeah, anyways, Android I think will be, yeah, that means you can install pretty much any app with it, and that's nice to have. So I think I'll put that a little bit ahead of the Zune HD overall, just because of the Android interface. I know it's a little bit laggier than the Zune HD is, but overall, you know, I think that you can install like any app on this thing. Zune HD, you cannot install any apps. This is a closed operating system. And then like way below these three is the Hidizs AP80 Pro X, because even though it has good sound quality, the problem with this thing is that the UI is just so bad. And if you have 20,000 tracks loaded like I do, like not being able to search through those tracks and then having to scroll through all those tracks on a small tiny display, and even the scrolling being laggy, yeah, it's just unusable. So even though the sound quality is quite good on the AP80 Pro X, I cannot recommend it at all because of that UI interface. It's just so horrible. And I don't know why they didn't put a search on that. That's just terrible. It's unusable basically. So anyways, yeah, I think my overall ranking would be like this. Yeah, Cowon Plenue D3, if you can find it. I know it's kind of a rare audio player to find these days, but if you can find it, I would probably put it number 1 overall among these. And then, yeah, Walkman and Zune HD are kind of close. I mean, Zune HD has the better interface. Walkman does have Android, so it has support for more apps. So it's pretty close between those two. Sound quality is also pretty close between those two as well. And then, yeah, this one I do not recommend at all, the AP80 Pro X, because it's just unusable in terms of the interface, unless you have a really small selection of music. So yeah, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think, but overall I am very, very impressed with the Cowon Plenue D3. I really wish that Cowon would keep making digital audio players, because they're the only ones that have the jet effect software, right? There's no new digital audio players that have that, and it's just such a shame, because jet effect is almost like a cheat code. It will make your headphones and IEMs sound like 5 times better than they are. Well, I know I'm kind of exaggerating, but it will make anything sound like much, much better because of the jet effect is so powerful. It changes the character of your headphones and IEMs. You can increase the soundstage on some settings. You can increase the vocal texture in some settings. You can increase the bass texture in some settings, like the Mach 3 bass, right? So because of that, you can just completely enhance and sculpt your IEM or headphone the way you really want it to sound. And it's just such an invaluable effect, really. And it sounds natural. That's the thing. With a lot of EQ software, right, purists are like, no, we don't like using EQ or DSP because it makes it sound unnatural. Well, I think jet effect, not on every setting, but on a lot of the settings, it sounds pretty natural. There's some settings it sounds artificial, yes, but like the core BBE setting and the BBE MP setting is pretty natural sounding to me. It doesn't even sound like it's you know, it doesn't sound like anything artificial at all. So that is really kind of a killer app for the Plenue, is the jet effect stuff. And it's so light and portable, and yeah, the sound quality is so good. UI, I mean, could be better, but it's not unusable or anything. So yeah, an OLED display, also long battery life. I think this thing can easily last a day. So yeah, Cowon Plenue D3, I'm very impressed with it. So let me know what you guys think of the Cowon Plenue D3 or any of these other devices. That's my thoughts. And coming up soon, I'll be having a sound comparison test, be testing the same tracks. First, I'll show you guys some of the different jet effect settings on here and how they differ. I'll be showing you guys BBE, no, sorry, normal, then BBE MP, and then Mach 3 bass, and then Viva 2, and then Maestro, and Feel the Wind, because those are kind of the ones I use the most on here. So I'll show you guys the difference between those settings, and then yeah, I'll show you guys kind of a comparison between all of these four in terms of just playing the same tracks, and yeah, maybe you guys can hear a difference, or maybe not, but let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, that's it. Yeah, the Cowon Plenue D3, and as always, thanks for watching.
The sun is setting and you're right here by my side, and the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting and you're right here by my side, and the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting and you're right here by my side, and the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting and you're right here by my side, and the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. The sun is setting, and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting, and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting, and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting, and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting, and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching. watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew, I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew, I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you. The sun is setting and you're right here by my side. And the movie is playing, but we won't be watching tonight. Every look, every touch makes me wanna give you my heart. I've been crushing on you, baby. Stay right where you are, 'cause I never knew, I never knew you could hide moonlight in your hands till the night I held you.
Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find there. Another road where maybe I could see another side there. Ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Let me try, let me try. Give you all of me, what you want from me. Let me drown, cause I'm floating in your ocean. Oh, don't let me drown, don't let me down, no, no. It be your love, we are divine, no. Don't let me drown. Ooh, girl, I wanna be your soldier, soldier. No place I'd rather be than in your heart. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find there. Another road where maybe I could see another side there. Ooh, and then I suddenly see, ooh, and then I tell you that I need you every single day of my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. I was alone, I took a ride, didn't know what I would find there. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life. Got to get you into my life, into my life.